Dorian Yates claimed that Brandon Carey would not even place among the top 6 in the 90s era. Here is Brandon at the 2019 Mr. Olympia versus Flex Wheeler at the 1993 Mr. Olympia when he came from nowhere to place second to a very powerful Dorian Yates. The video will also fare Brandon to Flex at the 1998 Mr. Olympia in some poses when he placed second to Ronnie Coleman. Flex used to hit one of the most impressive front double biceps in his era, making use of his massive and peaky biceps, wide chest and narrow waist, along with well-conditioned and separated quads. He was not nicknamed the Sultan of Symmetry for nothing. Brandon, on the other hand, does not look that aesthetic, but still having powerful biceps, wide chest and lats, and narrow waist. He does not show the same details Flex shows in his quads, as we will see in the upcoming poses. It all depends on the IFBB criteria. If they lean more towards conditioning and separation, then Flex would win it. Size and density, however, go to Brandon. The front lat spread was one of Flex's least impressive poses, as he did not use to spread his lats well, and his lats in this pose did not look that symmetrical either, and we will see that also in the pose from 1998. Brandon, on the other hand, hits a very impressive pose, making use of his wide lats and shoulders and narrow waist, and would win it. Flex looks very aesthetic and proportional in the side chest with his well-rounded shoulders that flow perfectly with his phenomenal arms, but Brandon has the more massive and denser chest along with visible striations. Aesthetics-wise, anyone would tell you that they would love to have Flex physique, but from a bodybuilding perspective, I think Brandon would still win this pose. The back double biceps shows the phenomenal back of Flex, which looks incredibly symmetrical and proportional. Notice how his rear delts flow perfectly with his rib traps, and the striations in his lower lats, which Brandon obviously lacks. Notice the peak in his biceps and the definition in his arms, along with his rounded shoulders. Flex hamstrings, however, were among his least impressive areas. Brandon is more massive but less conditioned and ripped, regardless of the fact that his tanning is darker. He has also been criticized for not having powerful lower section. Although more massive, I am leaning towards Flex for having the back superior conditioning, separation and symmetry. The rear lat spread was another less impressive pose by Flex. Although he was defined and ripped, he lacked the width and the density to match the likes of Brandon, who hits a powerful pose and shows dense and wide lats, even in comparison with the likes of Rolly Winkler. Flex side triceps pictures from that contest are rare, but this shot shows that he had impressive triceps, which were no less great than his phenomenal biceps. Look at the definition and the visible striations, not only in the triceps, but also in the lats area. Brandon looks impressive in this pose, but he does not show the details Flex shows in this area. Flex had among the greatest abs in his era, and it shows in this pose. His abs were engraved in the rock, along with a narrow waist and incredibly ripped and striated quads. He would defeat Brandon, who lacks the sharp conditioning and definition Flex has in these areas. The most muscular shows Flex insane proportions and symmetry with his rounded and striated chest, shoulders, and phenomenal arms. His abs and quads are incredibly ripped, presenting the embodiment of aesthetics. There might be some Photoshop in this shot for Flex, so here is another one showing his superior conditioning. Brandon, on the other hand, looks more massive but not as ripped. He looks like mass with no class next to Flex here. Now moving to the 1998 Mr. Olympia, where Flex added size to match the likes of Rani and Nasser Sumbati, but was also accused of using synthol in specific areas. I would still give Flex the front double biceps for having the superior conditioning and the better definition and separation, especially in the quads. The front lat spread shows that Flex added considerable size, but he still does not hit this pose properly, and as you may see, his arms look suspicious where he arguably used the synthol. I would still give this pose to Brandon. The side chest shows traces of Flex using the synthol in the shoulders and the arms areas, but does not change the fact that Brandon still has the denser and the more massive chest and would still win this pose. I liked Flex most muscular from the 1993 more than his pose here, as he does not look that proportional or symmetrical, but definitely more massive. Brandon has the more massive chest, which in my opinion flows better with his rounded shoulders. I gave Flex the most muscular from 1993 due to his superior conditioning and proportions, but I am not sure that I would give him the pose here. After all, it all depends on the eye of the beholder. So I do not know about Brandon placing 6 in the 90s era as Dorian claimed. Yes, Brandon did not have the sharp conditioning he was supposed to have, but I'm also sure that by saying that, Dorian was trying to magnify his achievement, winning the title for 6 times in this highly competitive era of bodybuilding. But that does not mean that Dorian always rightfully won these titles, especially in 1997. When he shockingly defeated the powerful Nasser Sumbati with melted biceps. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Thanks for watching and have a nice one.